how do we change the world? How do we put an end to all the perceived evil in this world? There is only one place to start, and that is within oneself. It opens up to a whole new perception. So many people in this Gregorian calendar year of 2025 will have a wonderful experience, but there will probably be a greater number that have a less pleasant experience. It is purely down to having an internal pole shift on how you see things, whether you see them in the negative, in the positive, or whether you can be between the two and see the contrast between the two in the same way that you can distinguish hot water from cold water and so on. How does this all work? I suppose the easiest way to explain it is to consider, at this very moment, while you are listening to this commentary, how many thousands upon thousands of televisions are being broadcast through the air? How many text messages are going between devices? How many emails are going between different computers? And yet, can those 5 external senses even detect them? Only a particular device to decode whatever frequency that signal is on. It doesn't, I'm trying to think of the words here. It doesn't negate the fact that they are here, even if we're not consciously aware of them with the external 5 senses. Another way, perhaps, to explain it is to visualize 2 bar magnets and how they will pull together. From this, you can also see that 1 and 1 doesn't always make 2, but 1 and 1 can still make 1. Because if you have 2 bar magnets and they pull together, you still only have 1 north pole and 1 south pole on one much longer magnet. But the key question to it, and it's something that the external 5 senses can't detect as such, although visually you can see the result of 2 magnets coming together. And most people will say, oh, it's the magnetic attraction of one magnet to the other one. When in fact it is the complete opposite. It is the 0 point of the magnets where there is no magnetism. Therefore, depending on the strength that can be measured of those magnets and their proximity, not due to the magnetism, but purely down to there is nothing energetically in the way between those 2 center points of dielectric. So when we put this into the practical terms of what we can call life, this same principle can be applied, and it sort of neatly sort of expands on what the word was made flesh really means. Because you'll notice in that biblical passage, which I believe is the Gospel of John, the introductory first chapter, the word was, in the beginning was the Word was God, and the Word was with God. Notice all past tense there. And the Word was made flesh, so it's already happened anyway. But it doesn't say that the Word was externally vocalized. So what actually is the Word? The Word can be the dielectric. It can be the thoughts in our minds. But as soon as you start thinking and go down this route of there's something I wish to achieve, but, and then whatever comes after it, I can't afford it, it's too far away, it's too cold, objective fact that would come through has been subjected to an interference pattern that we have created from our minds by the conscious mind trying to go out and seek problems that are not there to try and solve. They are just illusions, they are just perceptions in the given moment that the conscious mind is programmed to see negative, a challenge that needs to be overcome. But such things can be overcome by visioning the end result that you wish for, and provided it is done in a benevolent way, not in a self-serving way that would harm another, it will come through, it will happen. I say this from a place of experience because this is how I live my life. I have no income, I have no job. 2 months later, still in the same location, and yeah, I'm still able to put food on the table, I'm still able to feed the cats, I'm able to buy tobacco. My needs aren't great, but there is an unlimited supply of the universe to draw on, and it is simply by watching every thought and not putting them into the negative, because it really does come down to where the energy goes, where the focus goes, or where the attention goes, the energy will flow. So if the energy is flowing towards I can't, I haven't got, or any of those type of things, or I don't know if I can do this, any of these doubts that the mind will create, that is sufficient to stop it coming. There is also a requirement, because you're healing yourself, so there's a requirement to become a doctor, in the sense that you are healing. Not healing lots of other people, which you would call patients, but healing by having patience, not practicing. Because if you're practicing, you haven't perfected it. But it is, like everything else in this reality, it is subject to time, depending on what you're trying to vision and you're trying to manifest. Depends on the enormity of it. And of course, who knows the time scales of these things, the measurement. I suppose in time science could come up with some measurement of, say, magnitude, based on how much feeling did you put into the law of assumption, which is you've already got the thing that you desire, and you deny what the external senses are showing, which in a way, you're not denying that there are radio waves or emails or things whizzing through the air, but they're not detectable. So the word became flesh. Something to do with the word. Is it going to vocalize it? Is it going to put a disturbance into the ether of a negative approach to something and all the reasons why you can't do something? Or is it going to, shall we say, pray in secret? Keep it to yourself in the mind. Don't broadcast it outwardly, and just watch things unfold. Depending on what it is, it may take a matter of minutes, it may take maybe 2-3 years. I don't know the time scales of such things. What I can tell you from an experience of doing it twice is it took me just 6 days from a position of having no funds available to being able to buy a new cell phone, or to buy a second-hand, a pre-owned cell phone the first time, as that one had started to develop faults. It needed replacing. I was able to go out and buy a brand new cell phone. Not going with the brand names or anything, but it turned out in the run-up to this, I was asked by somebody else to go, and they gave me the money and said, can you do this shopping for me with anxiety? And this particular make and type of phone is what they wanted. I saw how it works, and I thought, well, that's plenty good enough. So it cost £90. I'd gone through repeating the exercise, and the second time ending up with a brand new phone, the one I'm recording on this on now, which is now about just about 2.5 years old, so it's been very good. Everything is finite, and this will need replacing, so we'll do it again. Consistent pattern of being able to do it in 6 days. Unlike this reality where it takes 9 months to create a baby, for example, or whatever other species, there are known measurements of time. But when we're dealing with this unseen, we call it the hand of God in action, nobody knows the appointed time is the saying that comes to mind. But so long as you hold true to that feeling, you deny what the external senses are presenting to you as it's not possible. Just hold true to visioning that the end outcome, remembering the future, as Neville Goddard calls it, and it will follow. It's that dialectric rather than the magnetism. That is the key to manifestation. By extension of this, it's often said that the television is all lies and films tell the truth. So consider the Matrix film, where it's up in basically like an eggshell in the sort of liquid. I would say, and it feels right to me, that it is actually human energy that is powering this entire reality. On that same pattern, so wanting it all to stop, all the perceived evil in this world, I would suggest that the world is a stage, and what we're actually dealing with is the script writers who are continuously offering scripts for us to take a multitude of different ways. Anything from you find yourself in the street, you overhear a conversation, you're triggered by what one or the other person says. There is an invitation to take part and play a character in a little drama. This is where the free will comes in. This is where it pays to recognize that it is a world stage. You are an actor or an actress on that world stage. We all portray or like to portray a certain image of ourselves to the external world, so we are all acting in that sense anyway. So it comes down to being a very discerning actor or actress, and very carefully reading the presented script, and then saying to oneself, do I wish to take part? Do I wish to play a part in this scene or this drama? I feel it is far better to write your own scripts or overwrite the existing scripts. And in the same way that a chef, which is a chief, will take a set of ingredients and create an individual cake that is all of their own blending of all the different ingredients, we can do that with ourselves in how we project ourselves out into the world. So draw on any of those archetypes. Take the whole spectrum of what would be perceived as their good or evil side. Blend those mythical characters together and be your own. Whilst there is a collective reality, there is a sovereign being reality. Now, if you're a sovereign being, you can create your own reality within this collective reality. And if you master that, you can walk in the knowledge that there is nothing in this external world that can actually harm you. I feel it will come down to very much like the scene in The Matrix where the agent Smith, and I forget the names of the other characters, fire these little metal projectiles at Neo, and they just stop. And they hover in mid-air and then just fall to the ground. Imagine that in the sense of that is your aura that you have built up, that is radiating out because it's coming from the heart space rather from the conscious mind space. The conscious mind in many ways is the adversary that is adding verses of I can't, or we better not do that, or I don't know what that's going to be like, because it requires crossing the threshold, stepping into the unknown, coming out of the comfort zone. So we continue to expand, we continue to grow, and we become the best versions of ourselves. The postscript to the main voicemail message. When you have that change of polarity, that internal pole shift, what also opens up is a new perception of heaven and hell. The heaven is the place that you find yourself dwelling in and how you feel and how you enter the external world around you, which is balanced in that whilst you are in this state of gratitude and feeling fully confident that the universe really has got your back and nothing can harm you, you also have to witness how many others around you have not found this and are still going through the process of being their own worst enemy through having those negative defaults. So there is an aspect that is very painful to see and to witness, but at the same time you can remain detached from it, because each of us as an individual can only find this by going through experiences. In the same way you could read 100 books on how to drive a car, but until you get in a car and you actually feel and go through the experience of what does it feel like to steer the wheel, is it heavy, is it light, what's the brake pedal feel like, what's the accelerator feel like, all these type of things. What does it feel like to be able to do a controlled stop, to be able to accelerate the way really fast, to learn to master it and drive economically, because it's going to cost you money if you keep going down heavy on the throttle, of course, and the wear and tear on the vehicle. But you're never going to get that from just reading about it in a book. I like to use this analogy because it comes down to going through the experience individually. We can all describe what something is like, but there is no substitute for going through the experience itself. That is when you truly know, when you go through the experience.